All right.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to, I guess, this is a public meeting, is it?
And Bank Committee meeting of May 16th, 2022. We do have 5 voting members present, and I will confirm that by calling the roll. Commissioner Pajali,
Here.
Chief Oliver,
Here.
Mr. Orzak,
Here.
Mr. Holliday,
Here.
Mr. Heil.
Here.
All right. I guess the first item, the meeting is called to order. The first item would be either review, discussion, or approval of the minutes of the 4/16/22 Land Bank meeting. That was the prior meeting in April.
Motion to approve. I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right. There's a motion and a second to approve. I guess if nobody wants to discuss those, I will just call the roll then for approval. Commissioner Pajali?
Yes.
Chief Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Orzak?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Heil?
Yes.
All right. Those are approved. And then I don't have any old business to report, but I do have 2 items of new business. These are applications that we received. The first one being an application for 1806 and 1808 Harrison Street. This came from the Firelands Habitat for Humanity. They did tell us and submitted a building plan that they have an approved family, that they will construct a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom dwelling that will be about 1,456 square feet. They do want to purchase both of these properties and combine them to build on both. I don't know if the aerial is better there at the top. I know that both pictures are probably small for you, but the zoning is R2F, which would allow for up to a 2-family parcel or a property to be built, but they are just proposing a single-family dwelling. They are successful. We do have a successful partnership with them, as we have done this in the past on Pierce Street, McKinley Street, Wilbert Street, Clay Street, Meg Street, and 3rd Street. So this is not something that's new to the city and Habitat for Humanity. And they will have a family that will own or occupy this house once it's built. They do want to break ground in August of 2022, so if we do have some discussion or we need to take it back to the table, we will need to know about that today. What else? They have proposed the purchase price to be $7,000, I believe. Go back to my report here. Yes, $7,000. Which is lower than the auditor's valuation. However, with a professional survey, the lot combination, and anything that needs to be done before they start building, they feel that that's a fair price, added to all of the expenses that they're going to have prior to their first dig. The taxing district will collect $214 a year, and then more than that once the structure is built. And if this committee allows for this purchase, we would take this then to City Commission, and we would execute a purchase agreement that would have our normal stipulations of construction within a year and so forth. So that's really all I have to report on that one. If there's anybody that has any questions or anything.
I would say that I think I've been on the committee for Habitat's prior purchases and builds, and they do a phenomenal job. A lot of community involvement and volunteers. Always enjoy seeing the stories behind this. With a single parent, home ownership is important for folks, and I think this is a prime opportunity for us to partner with them again and have a home for quite a few little kids. So I think I'll make a motion to recommend the city commission that we sell that lot for the $7,000. I did note that, to your point, that the valuation was significantly less, but with all the other factors that they need to do, I think it's appropriate in this manner.
Second?
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add?
Deb, I'll just add that I know we own a double lot immediately adjacent to this particular property, right to the south, and it's my hope that Habitat does a great job with this particular purchase and construction, and that we can partner with them on that adjacent lot to the south and perhaps see a second new home there on that street sometime in the future. But I think this first sale is a great sale, and to Chief Orzak's point, Habitat's been a great partner, and I'll certainly be supporting the sale.
Thank you. With that, I'll call the roll for the approval of the motion. Commissioner Pajali?
Yes.
Chief Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Orzak?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Heil?
Yes.
Okay. I will take then a purchase agreement to the next city commission meeting, or not the next, but the next one that I can get scheduled on for that. So they will be very happy to know that this body approved that for them. The next item or application is a mow-to-own request for 527 McDonough Street. This one is just for a portion of this lot. The woman lives on Madison Street, so it's Angela Woods, who is the applicant, and her property is at 1011 West Madison Street. Her parcel lies, or this parcel lies north of her property, and she purchased her property in April of 2021. She has no known code violations on her property, and she's requesting approximately a quarter of that parcel. It may seem like a strange request, but if we were to split this parcel at her expense, it would align 3 parcels next to her. It'd make them more conform, and it would also align her parcel with the others to allow for a backyard. I think I can show kind of here on the aerial. That lot comes back a little bit further than some of the other lots, I guess, before hers to the south. The city acquired the land in 2020, and it's zoned as 2-family residential, but, you know, if she does it for mow-to-own, she's only going to use it for yard space. This will bring those lots into conformity, and she is requesting that a purchase price of $1,550. That would be a quarter of the actual valuation. If there are any expenses with a lot split and combination, that would go towards, you know, her portion of the sale as well. And since she's using in-kind maintenance, it will be, she will not get the deed transferred right away. She will pay an earnest money deposit and then have a balance of years of maintenance on the property. Taxing district, it's not going to be much more of a tax issue, but she will, you know, her property value may increase just a little bit, I don't know, with a backyard. And if this body approves this, we would take it then to the land bank or to the city commission, and then we would execute a purchase agreement the same way. So I don't know if there's any discussion on this one. It's not a typical request.
I guess I have a question maybe for you or for Jonathan. Is the full parcel, how would this impact the rest of that parcel, I guess is my question, because it's narrow, I think it's 33 feet, but it's potentially buildable now. Would that I mean, I know there's the other parcels next to it have pretty small backyards, but do we think this is just not viable for redevelopment, so splitting it won't really impact the ability to like get the whole parcel back on as a residential or some other use?
I'll second the motion. I had the same question. I didn't know if Mr. Pajali, he has a extensive background in planning, or Mr. Holliday, but I was concerned about the same thing, like, is this gonna,
Yeah, are we basically
pare
writing
us
off this
down
whole
to-
parcel now?
yeah.
Go ahead, John. I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah, I certainly,
What it's worth, that was too.
the split reduces the marketability and desirability of the lot, the primary lot for future development. I don't know that it necessarily eliminates the potential that that lot be developed. I think the biggest hindrance is probably the amount of frontage at just 33 feet. So, you know, this is one that I wrestle with. I can see the benefit to the adjacent property owner that's requesting the lot to have a larger backyard, and it does bring these lots into a little bit more uniformity, but it certainly does make the residual lot that we will continue to own less desirable. But again, I don't think it necessarily prohibits future development of the residual lot. It could definitely hinder it, though.
If go ahead.
I guess then my follow-up question would be, like, what do we actually, 33 feet is not a lot of frontage to begin with, and I don't think, is there even a curb cut? It's impossible to tell here, but like, how difficult, even if, say we didn't approve this and we kept this lot as is it still pretty difficult to redevelop this parcel as is? Because for me, if that's the case, if we're basically saying this is probably going to all eventually become side or mow to own, I don't really mind this property owner getting a chunk of it. But if there is a really strong likelihood that we could get a whole house on the thing, that would be my preference.
33 feet can be difficult to put a new house on when you don't have access off the rear.
Got it.
In a case like this where we would not want to see a garage right at the front of the parcel, it's going to be tough to fit in a driveway and get any type of off-street parking. So I think the biggest hindrance of development of this parcel is the amount of frontage, and we're not adjusting that by selling the back piece. So I do think it's very possible that this whole parcel will end up being subdivided to be yard expansion for the surrounding property owners, just based on the amount of frontage.
Yeah, I was going to suggest, or I was wondering if you would offer it to those other property owners. And, you know, there is an argument that it might help clear up density if there's density issues out there. And they'll maintain it over time, so the city won't have to pick up those costs. I don't know if when we cut that piece off, is it deep enough? I don't know. I don't know what the zoning code says, so I guess I'd have to look at that.
If I may, for the record, we did offer it, or the property owner to the north asked for this parcel, and it was denied because she already has the property to the north of her even. So, you know, our parcel's 527. Marcia Kiefer, I believe was her name, at 523 McDonough, requested that whole parcel. And she was denied because she has the whole vacant parcel above. So she's got a double lot already. And then the property to the north, I believe, was ineligible at the time. But we could double check that again, you know, there.
I was just concerned because I thought we talked in the past about breaking up lots for this instead of doing the whole lot. I thought that came up a couple times, so.
Yeah, it may have come up before if it was creating a flag-shaped lot or an
Okay.
odd-shaped lot.
All right,
Because
I see.
one of those came up back a couple of years ago.
And my only other question would be, is the way the program works, and we establish that cost of $1,550, and then she'll work that off over time. Is that how that'll work?
Yeah.
And eventually the deed will transfer?
Yes. Any actual expense, so if we were to go out with the survey, if she doesn't pay for it, if we do, and the combination, any actual expense that the city has, she will pay for up
She'll pick
front,
up.
and then any sale price she can work off with the in-kind maintenance of maintaining that property.
I'm just wondering if before we vote, any of the other committee members have any thoughts on the best course of action here. I could definitely see both sides to this particular case. To me, the fact that the adjoining property owner that's making this request has such a small backyard is fairly compelling, and the way that Deb is proposing this, in that the city will recoup, any out-of-pocket expenses that relate to this split and transfer, makes me fairly open to considering this, but definitely am open to the comments from many of my colleagues on the committee.
I think I would be open to it only if we decide that we're going to offer the remaining portion of that to either side property owner, as we normally do, and to get rid of that property to the person that wanted it, or split evenly with the person to the south, because it doesn't make sense to me that we're going to narrow this lot down so much and then it'll sit there forever.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to build on it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I need a motion or not, but I just think it makes sense to, if someone wants to take care of it, it is a very small property. I would support her getting more backyard, but also then deciding to offer it to both the other property owners as per our rules that we have, or our policy that we have.
I think that's a really great course of action. Appreciate the suggestion.
I would move then for this item that we approve it based on the conditions indicated in the application, with the cost of the split being paid by the applicant.
Second?
Okay. Any other discussion or questions on this one? Okay. Commissioner Pajali,
Yes.
Chief Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Orzak,
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Heil.
Yes.
Okay. I will make sure that in that purchase agreement that we have those conditions that were laid out today in this meeting.
And will you follow up with the other two property owners then?
Property owners.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That is all I have for the regular agenda. We don't have any property acquisition at this time, but I would open it up if anybody has any discussion or questions, anything.
I do have one thing.
Sure.
I guess, to throw out there, I talked briefly with Jonathan before the meeting. He said it'd be appropriate to bring up here. I think we have a substantial number of properties on our land bank rolls that we haven't been actively moving along and seeking to either sell them, list them, or the Mo to Own program. community development has an intern for the summer, so Jonathan thought it might be a good project or idea to start evaluating some of these properties on our books. Some of them have been here for over a decade, and we're spending a lot of money mowing them and keeping them up and maintaining them and that. So I would just ask and recommend that we take a hard look at that and start being more active and aggressive in evaluating those properties. There's a lot of properties that are in the city's best interest to hold on to and, look for other opportunities for development or expansion of neighborhoods. But if we can kind of start, there's a lot of single ones out there that just are sitting around. I think we brought in quite a few land bank from the county. And so when I was reviewing them, it just seems that there's things sitting out there that maybe we should take a harder look at.
So noted. Yeah, we do have that intern, and maybe we could even get some real-time pictures, maybe do some social media website, kind of getting those pictures out there to
Can I
maybe
ask
market.
something along those lines? I'm probably not aware of a single land bank that I've ever heard of or worked with that has done this, but have we ever considered kind of an internal, like strategic property plan for these, if we had a recommendation, like what would be the highest and best use of this parcel, like ones that aren't buildable or ones that are, and we would like to identify them for, residential development or something else, or, to be a little bit more strategic. I don't know, has the city ever, Jonathan or Debbie, do you know if we've ever done anything like that, or?
Well, back in 2020, we did submit to all of the adjoining property owners, anything that was under 40 by 125. We suggested or submitted that you can apply for this side yard mow-to-own program. We got a few, and we're tying those up right now. I'm doing a lot of deed transfers now for those agreements that are, done now. But they are buildable as well. So
Sure.
it depends on, like you said, evaluating if we want to, see buildings or, dwellings on those properties, or do we want to offer them for the side yard? Most of our parcels are at least 33 feet though, for 33 feet wide.
Which is not a lot of frontage, but not, if I'm remembering like our zoning and everything correct, it's not technically prohibited, it's not too small of a lot to build on, it's just, like you said, difficult.
Right. Yeah, I think the problem has always been reuse of the property, right? You tear these properties down and they're scattered site, and then how do you reuse them? And that's always been the million-dollar question. Unless you can get the neighbors to maybe take them on and expand their yards, you don't always get a lot of takers.
Right.
So I think maybe that intern, maybe he or she can get creative and maybe sort out what would be properties that do have the potential of being developed, and those that maybe we might want to get real creative on trying to spin off.
How many properties are in the land bank? I mean, is there a list?
Yeah, there's a list on our website. I would guess there's 50 to 60,
Is there?
and they're all vacant land.
Okay.
I wonder what it cost us a year to mow those. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a seasonal crew that
Yeah.
is dedicated just to those
Yeah.
properties, so. And that includes any weed removal, if there's viney tree-like things in the fences, they
Or
try
somebody
to
dumps.
maintain that kind of stuff.
Somebody uses them as a dump site, and then
Well,
we have to pick
yeah,
up the cost for that.
Property too, yeah,
Happens.
Yeah.
so. But they work hard on those sites. So it would be nice if we could start, getting rid of some of them and getting them back into the tax roll, and,
It's a good idea.
yeah, for sure. Anything else?
Well, that might be a good start, having that intern look at it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so
Fresh
too.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really all I have. I do like that discussion because, it's been on my mind as well because our code compliance seasonal crew is really hard at work on them. And if we could do anything to help them out, to get rid of some of these properties, they'd truly appreciate it, I'm sure. The next meeting is June 20th, if necessary. I'm hoping to have some applications. We'll keep maybe selling some of these properties, whether it's through the MODA-owned program or building. And I do hear, every day you hear that people want property in Sandusky. So, if we get the word out there that we do have vacant land out there, maybe they'll eat it up.
All of the parcels are actually on our website at any given time.
They are. The bad part is they're by parcel. So
Oh, okay.
we do have a street attached to them. So
Okay.
say you want to look at Meg Street or Market Street or, Adam Street.
Got it.
There's a street attached to them, but the address kind of dissolves, I think, sometimes when it's just vacant land.
I see. Yeah.
And so you do have to actually, and the parcel is linked, so all they do is click on the parcel and they can see this aerial that I usually show, this
Oh,
aerial.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So they can kind of see what's cross streets or what's around it. So we have that tool, and we have the sheriff's auditor, or the sheriff's site for the sheriff's sales for people to look at. So.
Deb, I'll just briefly mention too, I think I have updated the group at previous meetings, but if folks aren't aware, we're in the process of selling the last of the single-family lots at Cold Creek. So that was a major effort, and Deb's been doing a fantastic job working with the title company and the broker to keep those sales moving. So that should be a major reduction in the burden for the city of maintenance with the sale of those 40 single-family lots. But I absolutely agree with the suggestions and comments today about us needing to continue to market and push out the remaining lots because they do take a lot to maintain. So we'll work diligently on that this spring. It's a great time with an intern and the good weather. So appreciate everyone's suggestions on those items.
Okay, if there's nothing further, we can adjourn the meeting with a motion.
So moved.
Second?
We'll adjourn at 2:00.